we have 4 simple rules. Number 1, we don't discuss politics, ever. Number 2, this is not a religious channel, and while you might hear people say, God bless you, or I'm going to pray for you, or I wouldn't have gotten through this without my faith, that's fine. What's not fine is to say, my God is better than your God, or here's why you're not getting into heaven. It's not going to fly. Number 3, we believe wholeheartedly if you can't control your tongue, then you can't control your life. So while on board, there's not going to be any cursing in the live chat, period. And number 4, there is no room for mean people on the lifeboat. Because we discuss very sensitive things from people's past in our group setting, we got to protect those people. The only way they feel confident and comfortable discussing those things is in an environment that is free of trolls and mean people. So if you're a mean person or you're a troll, we're going to block you for life. And if your account happens to be less than 24 hours old, we're probably a little suspicious right from the word go. Why? Well, because there are people in this world who enjoy being cruel solely for the sake of being cruel. It's not going to fly here. But if you're here because you're trying to get sober and live your best life, then you might find that the lifeboat is just that, a lifeboat. I'm Captain Tommy Scoville, and we will see you on deck. Good morning, everybody. I'm Captain Tommy Scoville, and you are on the lifeboat. Hold on. You know what scares the hell out of me, people? I don't know if you've ever used. I know that Heather will know what I'm talking about. But if you've ever used Streamlabs, when you set it up and you use all of the stuff in the beginning, like the intros and all of that, there's a part at the top that says go live, and it is 1,000th of a centimeter away from disconnect and kill the stream. And it scares the hell out of me every time I try to put the comments on, or I'm sorry, not go live, but comments. Every time I go to hit comments, I'm this close to turning off the feed, and it's just a matter of time before I screw that one up. So if that's ever the case, just stick around. I'll try to fix it. I'm not good at the big red button stuff. However, I had a very easy time putting together a Rumble account. It is the lifeboat, one word, the lifeboat at Rumble. There is a link put up on the lifeboat group page over on Facebook. If you can do that, we're halfway home for the number of subs that we need in order to be able to do live feeds. There's a couple of reasons why this is going to be a big deal. Number one, you'll notice that there's no longer a duck anywhere on the image of me. The reason is we're no longer using this as a free app. We're now paying for it. And in doing so, I can basically broadcast to Rumble and the big red button at the same time. That's a big deal for a couple of reasons. Number one, if they ever decide, hello, Full of Hope. Hello, Joanna W. Southern Grace, I'm glad that you're here, and we're keeping you in our prayers. If by some chance the big red button decides to be jerks and get rid of us, then we will still have Rumble. And the other nice thing is that Rumble actually, when I use Streamlabs on Rumble, it makes a hard copy. You realize that if the big red button decides to kill us, 760 videos are gone. Those videos do not belong to us. They belong to the big red button. And that is one of the things that you give up when you use their platform. And there's a lot of benefits to this platform. It's an amazing way to find a lot of people. There's no other platform that has the reach that the big red button has. Sadly, they have gone off the rails in terms of what they do to people. What they did to Miss Dragon is absolutely reprehensible. And on her new page, they're running ads. They're running ads. She's not yet monetized, yet they're still running ads on her stuff. And that's, I don't know. To me, that's sleazy. It's taking advantage of people, and I don't think that's right. But we're stuck with the big red button, and hopefully we're stuck with them forever. Honestly, I hope it's something that we never have to deal with them giving us the boot. But yesterday was scary because when I went live yesterday, so obviously yesterday's thumbnail was offensive to the censors, saying that the government, my BS toward the government was something that by putting that up, when I went to go live, it said this broadcast has been deleted. I assure you, I didn't delete it, and when I went back, it was still there. It hadn't been deleted. So I typed it out as fast as I could and started it up again. And that was the reason for the bit of the good morning story time with Uncle Bill. Good to see you. So that was the reason for the hiccup in the beginning yesterday. And that scared the hell out of me because that's never happened before. I'm going to be making noise about about what I talked about yesterday. I haven't slept since that feed, and I realized that that's not good, and I know that I'm going to make up for it. I promise you I'm going to spend a decent amount of today in bed, but a couple of reasons things came up that kept me awake. One of them was really good, the other not so much, but the one that was really good was I had a lot of people reach out to me about yesterday's live feed on the boat, and 99% of it was positive. There was really some positive stuff. And one of the people that reached out to me said, I want to write up the, what do you call it when you get a bunch of people to sign something? A petition. He said, I want to write up the petition, and this is something that I'm good at. He apparently is a paralegal, and he has written these things before. Feels like he would be a solid person to write it up. I said, fantastic, write it. Let's go. And I think it's going to bring... first of all, it's going to bring an awful lot of people. Here's a channel, Brendan at Cornwell. Latest vids. Well, I'll have to check that out. I don't know that I know that channel, but I will happily check that out. Brendan O'Connell. I will check that out. But I think it's probably going to be something that brings us a little bit of heat, but it's also going to bring us a lot of attention, because when we start to post that thing and give people the opportunity to sign it, the vast majority of people who sign it are not going to be people trying to get sober. I mean, let's be honest. The vast majority of people who are going to sign a decriminalization of all drugs are going to be people that want to get high. I mean, there's a lot of people that are pushing that agenda because they just simply want to get high, and that's. I'm not. Again, it's such an unusual subject because you don't feel good about it, but the other option sucks worse. Big shout out to Mark Wages. Mark, you don't see Mark, but Mark is so here in everything that he does. And Mark was with me all night last night, helping me troubleshoot through the process of getting Rumble set up. Please go over and sign up for the boat on Rumble. We do need it. And in order to be able to go live on Rumble, you need X number of subscribers. I can put up videos right now. Ties to New Hampshire. Good Lord, they're on the wrong side of the Connecticut River. Sorry, it's just a standard joke from where I grew up. You know, those people on that side of the Connecticut River. We're as a Vermonter, we give a bit of back and forth between Vermont and New Hampshire. If you ever seen them, they kind of make this perfect square, and we. As Vermonters, we crap all over New Hampshire, and New Hampshire craps all over Vermont. We all get along in the scheme of things, but it's always good for a joke. So at a before I went live last night, I wasn't sure how that was going to go, to be accepted, because it does seem like we're tapping out a bit, and the trolls are already having fun. But it's always nice to know that the trolls continue to watch everything we do. Makes you feel good. No, that they're out there. And I got an email. I don't watch their stuff. I really don't. I don't know what they talk about. I avoid them like the plague, but I got an email from somebody that said, the trolls are already going after you for that, blah, blah, blah. People, don't send me those emails. I love y'all. I really do. And I understand that people are just trying to help, and they want me to know if somebody's talking trash. I don't care if they're talking trash. It really has nothing to do with what we do here. I don't care. They're gonna. If I came out tomorrow and I said, "People, I have discovered a cure for cancer," the trolls would be telling you why I'm a jerk for finding that cure. There's another platform that's new. You can stream all at once. I'll get the name. Yeah, please do, Joe. Send me an email at sober@myyahoo.com. Anything like that, because ideally we're going to get to a point where I would like to stream on as many different platforms as we can, with the exception of TikTok, which we will not touch for obvious reasons. But as many platforms as we can reach out to. I would like the big red button to always be home, but there's always a threat with the big red button. They have these rules in place that you get 3 strikes and you get warnings and whatever, but they're canceling people without warnings, and that's being done, daily. So we got to hedge our bets. It's one of those things we truthfully just have to hedge our bets. And on a side note, people, there are going to be times on the lifeboat where decisions get made that suck. I'm not going to get into it, but it's going to be one of those things that eventually people will. Hold on. Ha! There's a fun guy. There's a fun guy. Look, it's Mr. Jack Me Off. Well, Jack, so nice to have you here. It's always nice to have somebody that has all kinds of class, and you are that guy, Jack. It's a pretty appropriate name for you too, my friend. Pretty appropriate name for you. Yeah, people. Hey, speaking of wages, it's called Restream, says Mark. Mark, thank you. I appreciate that. It's called Restream. I don't know anything about Restream, but if you want to send me that info, I would greatly appreciate that. That is Restream, huh? The you know what, the rate at which streaming services are popping up, it's honestly unbelievable. The speed at which these things are becoming popular. It's I guess it makes sense if you think about it, because there are just so many different options now. Yeah, there are so many different options now for streaming services. I am absolutely open to virtually all of them. If there is anything that comes up. Hey, how you doing? People, Jack Meoff, another close friend, would like you all to know that my birth name was Brett Miller, spelled with 2 T's. For whatever reason, the trolls seem to believe that I've never mentioned that on this boat, which is really funny, because if you go and look in the back office, I've always listed it as my name. That's my birth name. It's not the name that I use. It's not the name that I've used for a very long time, and it's not one that I'm going to spend a decent amount of time using in the future as well. But since they seem to have such a good time with that one, yeah, Brett with 2 T's. Yeah, that's the birth name. The the heat that I got last night from people who chose to reach out, the vast majority of them were jumping on the bandwagon of that. As far as this channel goes, if we cared anything about keeping people sober, then the decriminalization of drugs would not be something that we would entertain at any level. This is kind of a jackass approach if you really think about it. The truth of the matter is that as long as they keep going with the business model that they're going with, as long as they continue to treat this as a crime as opposed to a disease, then we're blowing more money on the war on drugs than we're blowing on anything else. If we were to take a half of that budget, if we were to take a quarter of that budget and put it into trying to help people get any kind of treatment, we could theoretically pay for every single person in America that wanted to go into rehab. I mean, out of pocket. There would be nobody that would ever have to come up with $1 to try to get into rehab. It's in the trillions of dollars that we've spent, trillions, and what we have to show for it is nothing, virtually nothing, which is sad. But I want to give a shout out to the entire crew for their response to this. And as I was saying before, I got sidetracked. There are going to be things that come up that are part of running the lifeboat that are going to suck. There are decisions that are going to be made that are going to suck, and they're not going to be fun. And I'm never going to go into hashing them. I'm never going to do anything to go over any of these things on the air. But these are the kind of things that will jump out at you. A time will come where you'll go, "Hey, something's wrong." When you realize exactly what's wrong, you're going to realize that decisions had to be made, and they're never fun. But there are times that if you're running this thing, you have to make decisions about people who are no longer going to be here. And it's what keeps you up at night. Since the boat started, there have been about 50 people that have been blocked on the boat. Of those 50 people, about 30 of them are just assholes, pardon me. But 20 were people that we cared deeply for. But where they're at currently in their situation makes it untenable to have them on the boat. And pulling that trigger is the least fun that you can have doing this. And it causes people to question everything that you do. And you know what? It's not a job I dig. I really would love to put that into the hands of somebody else. Unfortunately, it doesn't work that way. Unfortunately, I'm going to be the person that's going to have to do that. And that's probably always going to be that way until I hand the lifeboat off to somebody else. And someday, people, make no mistake, someday the lifeboat will be handed off to somebody else. But not in the near future. So for the time being, this is the way it's got to be. So that's that. And that is what it is. On yesterday morning's show, we were talking about honesty, and I probably could have done 2.5 hours on it. I think it's one of the most important subjects that we do here. Heather nailed it. If you haven't seen Heather's show on honesty, I think you should go back and take a look at it. But I don't care how long along in the process you are of getting sober. I don't care if you've been sober a year, 2 years, 5 years, whatever the case may be. You're going to come to the realization that every day, sobriety is taking a look at who you are and being honest with yourself. And the decisions that you make and every aspect of your life has to be looked at on a daily basis. One of the reasons that we, beat the drum about assignments, so to speak. I had a meeting with a guy 2 days ago who's you've seen on the boat before. Every time he's here, he drops $20. There's no missing him because he whenever he appears in the live chat, he usually donates $20. And he's a guy that I know personally, and he lives in town, and he's just a great person. And I had lunch with him day before yesterday, and we were discussing the lifeboat, and we were discussing different aspects of it. And one of the things that came out of the conversation is that as you move through life, no matter how long you've been going, this guy's got 20 years of sobriety, but virtually every day you have to apply the same principles that got you sober in order to remain sober. And he said to me, "You know what the problem with the lifeboat is?" And whenever someone says that, I want to say, "No, what's the problem with the lifeboat?" Prior to saying that, I want to punch them in the face because the lifeboat is my baby, and we worked really hard on it. Mark and I put a lot of time and a lot of effort into this. And I, as much as I would love to take constructive criticism with a smile, I don't do it very well. But I said, because I really like the guy, I said, "No, what is the problem with the lifeboat?" He said, "You don't give out assignments." He said, if you really want to help people, you should have them working through assignments of some kind. And he recommended a couple of places that I could go to look into workbooks and things like that. And I'll be honest, people, it's not a road I want to go down. I don't think that, as much as I think it would benefit everybody, I don't think a lot of people are going to do it. And I think there'll be pushback. And I think that, to use any of the workbooks or things require licensing fees and all kinds of issues. And if you're going to do that for 10% of the audience getting involved, it doesn't seem to make a lot of sense. But I'll tell you this, there are things that we do anyway that are assignments. If you're not journaling, then I assure you, you're not going to know whether or not you're on top of your game in terms of being honest with yourself. It's the fastest way to find out every single problem in your life is to get up in the morning and write every single thing that is in your head down on a piece of paper. Nothing is going to paint a picture for you faster than journaling. And then before you go to bed at night, write down everything. People, the reason for this is not just so that you can go back and read it. There's an absolute science to journaling. And the science goes something like this. At night, prior to laying down and going to sleep, we've got a ton of crap on our mind. And it may not be what your brain needs to work through while you go to sleep, if that makes sense. Your subconscious works through things while you're sleeping to keep you on an even keel. If you write down what is in your head, and sometimes, again, it doesn't have to make sense. It doesn't have to, you just start to unload. But what happens is, as you go to sleep, you have pulled all of that stuff to your frontal lobe. So that as soon as you go into rapid eye sleep, when you go into REM sleep and you begin to dream, you're going to work through the issues faster. If you begin to start working through your issues as soon as you go to sleep, then by the time you wake up in the morning, 90% of what you needed to work through, you will have already worked through. On the flip side of that, in the morning, when you get up and you do what we call the info dump, what you're doing is getting rid of all of the stuff that you did not fully resolve. When you wake up in the morning, chances are you were dreaming right before you woke. Usually your deepest sleep is right before you gain consciousness. And I talk to people all the time on the boat that say to me, I don't dream. I never dream. I assure you, you dream. If you do not dream, really funny things happen. Like you begin to dream with your eyes open. You'll begin to hallucinate and all kinds of crazy things will happen. But if you get up in the morning and you do an info dump and you sit down and you just start doing a stream of consciousness where you just write whatever comes to mind, even if it makes absolutely no sense, you will continue to work through the issues that you did not fix while you were sleeping. It's a stone cold fact. It's the reason people journal. It's the reason people journal twice a day. If you really want to get to the finish line in this, if you want to grow as a human being, forget sobriety. Sobriety is the friggin' base camp. We've said it 1,000 times. Sobriety is when life starts. It's not the end of the story. It's the beginning of it. And if you want to start working on who you are, Heather did a beautiful speech the other night where she talked about mental health. And she talked about working through the issues that were the reasons that you began to use. If you don't, she talked about some really heinous things that happen. And I want to tell you something. Heather got very emotional when she talked about that. Do you know why? Because a lot of people on this boat reach out to Heather. Heather counsels people. And unlike me, Heather has training, right? I have I've read a great deal of books about sobriety. Heather has training. Heather has actual experience talking to individuals and working with them on mental health. And you begin to recognize that there are people who have ideologies that are frightening, people who are thinking about how the earth might be a better place without them. That's frightening stuff. If you're not working to get to what your core issues are, that's a reality. That's something that can happen to people. And you know what? It doesn't need to. But if you're going to get to those core issues, you're going to do it by exploring who you are. And there aren't too many ways to do that. I mean, I guess you can sit, cross your legs, do the Om thing and concentrate on who you are for an hour at a time, or move to an ashram or study with the Maharishi. Or, since most of those are probably outside the realm of possibility for most people on the lifeboat trying to get sober, your best bet is to grab a damn notebook and a pen and start writing things down. We talk a lot about ants, automatic negative thoughts. We talk about internal monologue or internal dialogue, where during the day, there is that constant voice, right? And it's not always automatic negative thoughts. Although, make no mistake, when you're having automatic negative thoughts, it is your inner monologue that is having them. Man, I'm not worth anything. I'm not, this isn't going to work. I'm just going to get high again. I don't even know why I'm even trying. I'm a failure. I'm a waste of time. F my life. All of those things. All those automatic negative thoughts are your inner monologue. But if you want to get control of that, if you want that to be something that is not running your life, then you have to explore what is causing it. What made you get high? And I don't mean the first, because we all got stoned the first time because it was, hey, that's a cool concept, right? Everybody's getting high. I'll try that. But what continued to bring you back when everybody else quit? If I look back at the people I got stoned with in high school, the people that I used to go and hang out with and get high on the village green, the vast majority of them went on to very productive lives. In fact, the guy that I used to get stoned with all the time is a doctor. Another guy I used to get stoned with all the time does organ transplants. He's a doctor that saves people's lives. And at the time, he was just another kid that got high with me, or he got drunk with us and played quarter shot and did all of those things that we do in high school. But I just kept going. And there was a reason for that. There was something inside that I wanted to put to sleep. There was something inside that I felt the unbelievable desire, the overwhelming desire to just shut up. That internal monologue and that internal voice that I wanted to put to sleep. And we all have it. If you're going to work on finding out what that is, which is the start of life, not 72 hours after you stop doing your chemical. You're just chemical free at that point. A year after you stop getting high, you're still just chemical free. And you might be sober. You may have gotten to the point where it's going to work. But if you want to find out who you are, what makes you tick, then journaling, meditation, right? Those things are going to be the keys that actually help you discover why you did what you did, why you felt the need to need a chemical to make you comfortable in your own skin. And when you discover that, then you're going to have a much easier time being comfortable in your own skin without that chemical. I'm hoping that makes sense. It's not an assignment. I've never come on here and said, you really have to do this, right? Or get your ass off the boat. It's never been that kind of a setup. But if you want to get the most out of what we do here, then you're going to drop $1.50, right, on a composition notebook. And you're going to get a Bic Easy Roller, and you're going to start writing down what's going on in your life. And you know what, people, these things, like, I'm no rocket scientist, but I'll bet you I got 70 of these at this point that I have filled. And the reason is, I know I'm a mess up. I know that I am completely messed up as a human being. I am. It's one of the reasons I do the lifeboat. This is therapy. It's therapy I do twice a day. But I spend a hell of a lot of time writing down everything that is in my head. And it has led to discovery. It's put me in a place where I'm a much healthier individual. And might not be an assignment, but for the love of God, please start journaling. One day in the boat, I said, throw a 1 up if you started journaling and it's helping you. And every single person that that was there threw up a 1. If you're not journaling, then you're not going to get what you should get out of this entire adventure. You're not going to find out who you are. You're also not going to see relapses coming. You're not going to realize when you're treating people in ways that maybe aren't the best, when you're not living up to the standards that you're setting for yourself. All of that stuff comes out when you journal. It's my humble opinion. I'll tell you another one. I don't plug products very often on the lifeboat. I talked about that device that you chew on because it has done wonders for me in terms of getting blood to my head, right? And relieving stress. that device that you put in your teeth and chew on has been an absolute godsend to me. However, I don't know if you've noticed on the last 3 lifeboats, but I'm not going every 2 seconds. I bought a Navage. And I don't know if you know what those are, but the concept is one of the grossest things you could possibly think of. It forces water up one nostril and sucks it out of the other. And it has been life-changing. I'm telling you right now, if you have not ever tried Navage and you're having any problems with your beak, for those of us that snorted a lot of drugs, your nose is never quite right. You know what I mean? You always sort of just are packed up, and it's been an issue for me since the day that I started the lifeboat. And it really has just been an absolute life-changing thing. I wish I had bought it decades ago. If you're having issues with that, you might want to jump on it. People, today is going to be a little bit of a brief lifeboat. And the reason is I literally have been awake since the last time I saw you. Some of it was great. Some of it wasn't. Part of this job sucks. In fact, there's a decent amount of this job that sucks. And decisions that I make are never fun. They really aren't. There are decisions that I make that I will live with. And, when you can't sleep at night, you know what you think about? You think about the people that aren't on the boat anymore. For real. If you're laying in bed and you can't get to sleep, you think about the people that left. And you think about if you did anything to run them off. Or if maybe you had answered an email quicker, that, maybe they would have stuck around. And you think about the people that passed away or people that took their own lives. And you think about whether or not there was something you could have done differently that might have helped with that. That's one of those things. You also think about people that you blocked, people that you kicked off the boat. And it's an uncomfortable thing. And it's not something that's ever taken lightly. It isn't in any way, shape, or form something that is taken lightly. And it's a crap show, it's a shit show. It's not something that you could ever take any joy in doing. And if you're 100% right and you were on the money with every single thing you thought, and the person just, everything they did just screamed they need to be blocked, it's still going to keep you up at night. It's still going to make you sick. And it's still part of the deal. And I'm blessed as hell these days that I've still got Mark Wages that's helping me, and that I've got Heather that comes on. There's a team of people in place, from the mods to the co-hosts to my partner, that still make this a whole lot more palatable. Listening sleepy. Well, I'll tell you what, Ladybug, I am speaking sleepy. I am all but asleep here talking to you. So, you know what, Tommy Bird? Yeah, I love you, Tommy. I really do. You know what, Mark? Thank you. And you know what? It's and these days, I'll tell you something. And Mark, like I said, Mark's never far away. He's been an amazing help, especially recently. He's really been back in the saddle as if he was on the other side of the glass. But what I miss most is making those kind of decisions with Mark. And the reason, it was really obvious. Mark and I are a really great yin yang kind of a combination. Mark is far more measured. He's calmer, and it's a good adjunct to me. You know what I mean? We fit together very well on that. And if I have to make decisions like that without him, it's never as well. It sucked even when Mark was there. I think I just liked sharing it with him, so that the suck was it was split down the middle. But it is what it is. I love how he always forgets me. People, Lest I forget, Lady Crispin. I'm in love with Lady Crispin. So it's really a different scenario altogether. Lady Crispin gets the worst of me when when things are really difficult and and things are kicking your butt. The people that you love the most really take the most abuse. And I don't mean that I'm yelling at her. It's just that you know how you dump in the morning into a notebook. Well, when you love somebody and you're having a bad time, you sort of dump onto them. So um, Lady Crispin takes the lion's share of that, and for that, there is just there aren't words, and maybe that's why I don't articulate that well. But that's the truth to that. I love her. All right, peeps. I'm going to bed. I'm going to be here tonight, and I'm sure I will be full of fire and brimstone. I will have gotten plenty of sleep. Do me a favor today, people. Get over to the Lifeboat group page. There is a link over there that I put. That link will take you right to Rumble. It'll make it quite simple. You click on there. The Lifeboat is one word on Rumble. So the Lifeboat, all, excuse me, no spaces in between. The Lifeboat. So get over there and sign up. We're halfway home to being able to live feed so that we can do both directly from here. In fact, we could do about 5 from this platform, 5, maybe 6 all at once. You know, my eyes are so bad this morning. It's absolutely awful. I can't read anything. I'm thankful I've never been hit by one of her flying wrenches. It's really easy, says Wages World. But then again, Mark's intelligent. Not something I have going for me. So, of course, it's easy for you, Mark. Do watch Brendan O'Connell III's latest. John Doe, I'll do that. Thank you, Lady Crispin. Joe that you know says, and hit the like button, people. Joe, you take care too. I appreciate you. I really do. I'm going to go get that wretched cat out of the garage. I say all the time, my wife is the best part of is the best part of me. So when she's not around, you know I suck. That's funny. Vicky, research DMSO. It's great for pain, for the knee. And blue Kool-Aid back in the house. Jennifer Rice, I beg to differ. With all due respect, blue Kool-Aid has always been in the house. He may not have been leaving comments. He may have been lurking, but blue Kool-Aid has never left the house. And that is the gospel truth. He has never left the house. If he did, you guys would have known it because I don't do so well when he's not around. And that is just the truth. All right, peeps, I'm going to get a little sleep. Sorry, it was a little short today, but it's been a hell of a long night and worth it because really good things are going to come out of what happened in the last 24 hours. Thank you, John Doe. I appreciate you. And I'll tell you something, people. Mark can tell you this. I appreciate Lady Fiona as well, Ladybug. Make no mistake, I really do. Maybe I don't say it often enough in front of you guys, but she means the world to me. It's one of the things that, one of the things with the lifeboat is that we are evolving. Every day we're evolving, and when Mark was on the other side of the glass, every once in a while we would do a show where we would look at each other and go, you know what, that was a good one. And whether you believe it or not, in 760 shows, I bet we said that 4 or 5 times. There really there's been some shows where you guys were great, and we've probably said, man, the audience was on fire probably 30 or 40% of the time. You know, sleep, Captain. Word of the day, sleep. I promise. There have been a bunch of times where when the show was over, Mark and I said, boy, the audience was on fire today. You know, the crew was just on fire. You guys were, the comments were coming fast. But I'll tell you something. I'm proud of last night's show. And I don't say that very often. And I don't mean it very often. It's not, you know, when you do these things as often as we do them, it's hard to feel really confident in what you do. But I'll tell you something. Yesterday's was a good show, and I'm proud of it. Bottom line, I really am. And everything that was said on yesterday's show was absolutely the truth. So please, if you haven't shared that show, share it, because the big red button's going to bury it. We stepped on every toe you could possibly step on last night. So please share that. I will be here tonight at 5:00. I'll have a cat in a basket. And I love all of you. I really do. Even you, Fiona. God bless, and we will see you on the boat tonight. I'm Captain Tommy Scoville, and you are on the lifeboat. Goodbye, everybody.